Hey guys, welcome back to markdillon.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, that is greatly appreciated as well. What would be even more appreciated is if you'll go to your little browser, type in markdillon.com, and check out my website. There are lots of really cool things on there, in addition to some of these video blogs which are not publicly available on YouTube because they're a little bit more adult in nature. Anywho, I'm back home in San Francisco, my favorite city in the world, Nob Hill to be specific. It's good to be back home, sleep in my own bed. I was in LA for about 3 weeks, kind of hanging out, visiting a friend who just moved there. A lot of fun, but good to be home and do this video blog from my own little desk. Anywho, so tonight's question is from Jared. He says, "Hi Mark, I stumbled across your YouTube channel a while ago. I love your blogs. You come across as really genuine and down to earth. Quite amazing and refreshing." A few more lines of gratuitous flattery, which I love. Thank you, Jared. You and I are now friends for life. On to your question, which is in regards to a fairly controversial topic, which is PrEP and condomless sex. He says, "You've talked a lot about barebacking in the adult industry. For what it's worth, I thought what you said was spot on. There appears to be new debate in our community over the alleged increase in barebacking to the availability of pre-exposure prophylaxis. As you've said, everyone has had slip-ups. I'm certainly no better than anyone else in that department. I've started taking PrEP 6 months ago, hadn't missed a day, no side effects. But ever since being on the regimen, I have affirmatively sought out to have condomless sex as opposed to a random slip-up, since I'm strictly compliant with the program and the guidelines, and I know all the risks of other STIs. I have tried the best I can to educate myself on HIV, its transmission, new studies, and the science being done. On a high note, I think I've had more enjoyable sex in the last 6 months than I've had in the past 10 years. I'm currently 27, but at the same time, I feel a bit of guilt that I'm reinforcing the slut-shaming and fear-mongering that has been going on about PrEP since it was approved by the FDA. I guess my bottom line question, no pun intended, is whether I should feel guilty for having bareback sex as long as I stay compliant. Also, I'm curious as to your thoughts about PrEP, if you have any." Jared, that is a mouthful. I'm out of breath just from reading it. So, that's a tough question. Now, part of the question can be answered with a fact-based answer, because we know that the drug has gone through clinical trials, tremendous amounts of research, all that stuff. The other part of the answer comes down to just what makes an individual person feel comfortable that they're doing what's best for them to protect their own health and well-being. And that procedure, whatever it may be, whether it's the PrEP program, whether it's condom usage, whether it's abstinence, will vary individual by individual. Now, for you guys who don't know what the PrEP program is, it is taking the drug Truvada daily. It's something I'm on, so there you go. That's Truvada, which, as you see, is 2 out of the 3 drugs they normally use to treat a person who is infected with HIV. Now, when taken daily, as directed by your doctor, Truvada is overwhelmingly effective in preventing HIV infection. Now, is it 100% guaranteed to prevent any and every HIV infection in all cases? Of course not. By the way, condoms don't do that either. So, I think this happens to be a really wonderful new tool in the fight against the spread of HIV. I think that there has been an unnecessary amount of trying to create a climate of fear around the drug and trying to shame people who use it. Listen, the reality of the situation is almost no one is 100% safe all the time. Meaning you never have a slip up, you never have a mistake, you've never met somebody that you've just been so caught up with that you don't use a condom. So there are a few people who are safe 100% of the time, or they have sex so infrequently, or it's with somebody that's completely that they believe is monogamous, that most of that this conversation may not apply to them. But overwhelmingly, most gay men have multiple partners. We try our best to be as safe and as cautious as possible, but everybody has slip-ups. Now, I think if you go and you look at yourself in the mirror and you can't say with absolute certainty that 100% of the time, every single time, you're going to practice safe sex with a condom, every time, no room for error, then I think if you can't say that, it's worth talking to your doctor about the PrEP regimen. Now, Jared, you said you mentioned slut shaming and fear mongering. A lot of that will go on with regards to anything you do. It may be not slut shaming, but people will always feel the need to criticize something or try to put somebody down. That's more a reflection on their own issues and their own kind of need to validate whatever is going on in their little mind, rather than whether or not something actually makes sense. When you think about it, when you think of the hundreds of millions and sometimes billions of dollars that drug companies spend to bring a drug to market, all the clinical trials, all the scientific data that has to be accumulated, the government oversight, do you really, really believe that this drug came to market with a high risk of failure? I don't think so. Now you have a lot of these people who will say, well, it's not 100% effective. Well, that's true. Nothing is. Nothing but abstinence is 100% effective. So that kind of invalidates that argument, in my opinion. I think when used effectively, and you read the data for yourself, you find out the success rates. If you feel that that is sufficient to make you feel protected, then it's worth looking into. If not, don't use it. Make sure you use a condom 100% of the time, and you should be safe. I think, Jared, so many people focus more on what other people are doing in their personal lives than looking at themselves and figuring out what they can do to make themselves happy and comfortable and better themselves. So many people spend a lifetime judging other people, trying to badmouth other people, trying to make other people feel bad about themselves. And the truth is, they never spend any time building up a quality life themselves because they're so busy minding everybody else's business. They don't really find. I don't think they find true fulfillment in their own life. So, Jared, I couldn't care less what somebody says about me using it. I'm doing what I think is best for me. I researched it myself. I talked to my doctor about it, and I talked to one of my best friends about it, who is a really, really brilliant doctor. So between the two of them and my own research, I came to the conclusion that this makes sense for me. So I could care less about some troll who wants to call me a slut or trying to make me feel ashamed. I couldn't care less. It's just like I had this talk with somebody a couple days ago, and they said, "Oh my God, don't you know that Truvada has liver toxicity?" I said, well, have you ever stopped to read the side effects of Tylenol or Advil or vitamin E or vitamin A? Anything you take could have possible side effects. Again, we live in such a litigious society. If there's even a remote 1 in a million chance something happens, they have to list it as a side effect. Do you really think it came to market if those were common side effects? But I digress. This particular person who told me about Truvada having liver toxicity. Oh my God, liver toxicity. This queen is at the clubs every Friday and Saturday night getting drunk off her fucking ass. So I pointed out to her, I said, you know all that vodka and cranberry you're always, oh, I got so wasted at the club last night. I said, there's more liver toxicity in that glass of vodka and cranberry you drank than that's in this whole bottle of Truvada. So, I have never, not once, done a drug. I've never smoked marijuana. I don't drink. I've never smoked a cigarette. I'm not going to let somebody who lives an incredibly reckless life in all other ways try to make it seem like I'm not taking care of my body because I take something that's designed to protect me. Jared, listen. I don't care if somebody uses a pill. I don't care if they use a condom. I don't care if they use a Ziploc bag, a hefty bag, I don't care. As long as that person is doing whatever they feel is necessary to protect themselves and they're comfortable with that decision, I have no right to judge that person. You don't, and nobody else does. It's their life. They've taken whatever steps they feel are necessary to protect their health and well being. And it's my job to protect my health and well being. Now, that being said, I think there is always room for some constructive discontent and some criticism of anything. You wouldn't want the entire world to keep their head down, eyes to the ground, and just take any and everything that's thrown out there. But the truth is, most of the criticism that's coming out about this drug is not from people who are legitimately concerned about the data that's out there. It's not people questioning the methodology that they use to determine the effectiveness of this drug. It's a few trolls who like to criticize any and everything. They just love the idea of having another reason to badmouth somebody. So listen, Jared, you go out, you do whatever you feel is best for you. You're not accountable to anybody else. You're not accountable. Nobody has the right to judge you for what you're doing. You are taking the what you feel to be the proper precautions to protect yourself. That's all that matters. If somebody has an issue with that, too bad. And by the way, the same people who are always mentioning all these other STIs, STDs you can get from not using a condom, they say, well, yeah, you take Truvada, you may eliminate your risk of HIV, but then you're susceptible to this, and that. Well, you know what? All those same STDs are transmissible by oral sex. Does that mean that that these same people are using a condom for oral for any and everything? Are they using a dental dam for rimming, a condom for oral sex? Probably not. And then if you mention that to them, they'll say, well, the statistical likelihood of getting anything from oral sex is very, very low. So now statistics matter. But when they come to this, they don't. So there you go, Jared. Spend less time worrying about what other people think of what you're doing and more time focusing on making sure you're doing what you feel is right. One side note, you mentioned should you feel guilty. That's always been an interesting thing for me because I feel that I've been incredibly lucky to be HIV negative at this point. Because I've had many, many slip-ups through the course of my life. Let me tell you, it is a true stroke of good luck. With some smart decisions on my part, like generally having somebody pull out, generally having a discussion about making sure that they know their status or whatever it is. But that being said, still, you can't help but feel guilty that here you get to enjoy doing what you want to do, and you've seen friends become HIV positive, maybe somebody who was more responsible than you, and they've still not had the same good fortune that you've had. At least that's how I feel. So I understand the sense of, sometimes having that little sense of guilt, like, is it really right for me to be doing this? But listen, overwhelmingly, the facts and the data show that this is a very highly effective way to protect yourself. So you shouldn't feel any guilt over that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. So Jared, thank you for the question. Guys, thank you for tuning in to markdillon.com. If you're watching it on YouTube, don't forget to check out my site. Hope you guys have a great evening.